I make art because I still don't know who the hell I really am. So I reach for truth, and I don't always know how to clean my mind all the time, but I want the painting to be as honest about what people are, what we feel, and there is a humanity to be investigated. And the best way I can do that is trying to be as honest with myself as I possibly can be in any painting. And so I managed to have a hyphenated life for a long time. I was a husband painter, I was a father painter, I was a designer painter, I was a teacher painter, and screw them all. And for the last batch of years, I'm a painter. I don't want to illustrate an emotion. I want to evoke enough emotion so that somebody can identify with it and carry it from there. It doesn't happen often, but I can have a painting of mine around, and sometimes I'm really overwhelmed with grief. You ask a very provocative question when you say, what does New York mean to me? Born here, bred here, I think it became and remains a place in which all my stereotypes are challenged. I've learned that not everybody is a Jew born to immigrant parents. I've learned that there are dreadful misconceptions by my standards, and how do I tolerate them? Where can I voice them, like morality and religion? Anything that I have that locks itself up gets unlocked in New York. Because of the immigrant background, my whole job was to learn how to be an American. How to be an American man by my standards was not the same as how to be an American man by standards that I accepted. They were in conflict. My idea is trying to be a unique person was the only way in which I could allow myself to consider some sense of personal success. All of this has changed, but that's why I'm having trouble trying to locate myself in this. I believe that was, if I'm correct, we were a drugstore with a counter on it, and it was a very convenient place in which to have a cup of coffee, knew the people who ran it, found out the difficulties they were having with running it, what was wrong, what the neighborhood people who were coming in were doing, what the neighborhood pressures were. And over there, under the gate, down below, Ethel Rosenberg, who was later executed, sang Un bel dì to me, because from Madama Butterfly, which I've never forgotten, with a very beautiful voice, because the echoes were so good there. I knew so many of these places. When I look at my own work, I try to see me, and what do I think other people see when they look at a work? Viewing a work of art is an exciting thing, one of the most exciting things that could happen to people. The Whitney was the place in which I could feel very comfortable about being in a protected atmosphere. I would meet my friends there. I would go through the Whitney. It was a part of me that identified me. Nothing bad was going to happen to me at the Whitney. For me, this was my main street. This is my refuge when it rained. because I could get out of the weather, or if we're going to be meeting somebody, this was the place where we could do it. It is not at all like I remember it. I don't remember it as having a sense of dignity more than grandeur. Got one that works. It's so funny that I remember nothing about stairs. I used to do these 2 at a time if they were here, and I would never remember that I felt like I was climbing the Alps. Some thoughts about this place are very new. It would never have occurred to me when it was the museum. I would love this as a studio. I didn't think of it as a place where art would be made. It was only a place where art would be displayed. So it has such a different feeling. And part of me wants to rip down these sheetrock walls and see about the walls underneath it. They may have forgotten that there was some painting there of a nude with a stag, you know, looking out into the world, because that's the kind of art I remember from the Whitney. I'm going into this strange place. Oh my, I want this. I like the tall ceilings, a wild fireplace. My whole sense of the building is kind of the sense of what was happening in terms of the art, the New York art world. This is where real writers were. This is where real actors were. This is where real painters probably. So I was the callow youth personified, except I would never dare identify myself that way at the time. Perhaps the best answer to who I was at a point when my wife and I were in counseling together, marriage counseling, having some difficulties after a number of years of marriage. And the therapist said, you might just as well face it. Painting is his mistress, and he's treating himself in his studio the same way he is escaping from you, and stop denying it. My escape was in painting. That's where I could really be happy by myself. I should have mountains and mountains and mountains of work all over the place. I've had 40 years in which to do it. And now I still feel that I'm running out of time. No matter what happens, I'm running out of time. I'm an old man. I am in my 92nd year. I don't know that people are supposed to live that long. The new and the old are just so beautifully seen together. And the old is not without hope. Like, what will that abandoned building become? I want it to become my studio, but what will the abandoned building truly become? We are funny things. I am funny. I am ridiculous. I'm not sane. It's not even funny smart. It's just funny that we live with all these cross currents of thought. My generalized me, I had no respect for. My specific me, as somebody who was doing something that's socially respectable, which is painting, but didn't mean to have to craft it to make socially accepted images. Our need for approval and affirmation can be so strong that we accept that by people who know far less than we do. Painting is a great catalyst for seeing something as it actually is. No matter how different it may look, when I go back and look at it. It's not the painting that has changed, it's me that has changed.